What's happening, Fit Fam? It's your coach and trainer, F.U.D. I'm bringing you this simple and sustainable goal-setting mindset strategy. We're going to be talking about how to not get filled up with FUD. Not mud, but FUD. That's F-U-D. I'm going to be talking about how people get stuck in their fear, uncertainty, and doubt, and then giving you strategies on how to manage your FUD levels. So let's get started talking about how people tend to get stuck in the FUD. So let's just start off talking about just what is FUD. Besides rhyming with mud, and both things do keep you stuck in the same place, FUD is the acronym meaning fear, uncertainty, and doubt. And they're all manifestations of some kind of anxiety. Now, starting off with fear, we can be afraid of things that'll really be actual threats, or they could be threats that we perceive as actual threats. And a lot of these things that we are afraid of aren't necessarily things that would kill us. Like, it's not like a shark is gonna jump out and grab you, but we might be afraid of putting ourselves out there, afraid of failure, these invisible killers. And they're kinds of fears that often come down to our self-talk. And one thing about self-talk is it travels incredibly fast and it is incredibly repetitive. It travels faster than you can ever talk, and it'll repeat itself more than you have enough air in your lungs. So, with that being said, in order to understand the first part of FUD, you have to understand that a lot of your fear is in your head and how you talk about situations. You're talking about them in a very scary way that makes them seem like the absolute worst case scenario. And oftentimes, that isn't the case. So in the later part of this video, I'll be talking about the strategy to manage that, but just understand that the first part of FUD is living in fear. And often we're living in the fear that's up here, and it's not in the real world. On to the next part, the uncertainty. There's a lot of uncertainty, and when you're trying to do too much on your own, you're not involving a support system, you're not involving an expert, you're just trying to do it blindly on your own, of course, everything looks uncertain. So that second part, that's the unknown, the uncertain. You also can have a fear of the uncertain. That's how those two can intertwine. So that's the first two parts. And then the last part, the self-doubt. When you don't know yourself, you're gonna always be uncertain, you're gonna always be afraid, living in fear. That's how this FUD kind of just snowballs. Because if you first of all are always telling yourself things that make you afraid to put yourself out there, or to be like unwilling to go into new unknown situations, that's the uncertainty part, then your self-doubt is massive. You see yourself as this big when you're really, like the real size of you. So living in that fear, living in that uncertainty and that doubt, it's a snowball that just encapsulates you and holds you in place like being stuck in the mud. So you now can understand how the fear, uncertainty, and doubt can take over your life and become the only way that you operate. Let's work on managing them in the next part. So now we've made it to the final part, managing your FUD levels. Let's just start with the first component, fear. In order to control your fear, we have to work on what's going on between your ears. Self-talk can be the worst thing or the best thing, because the worst and best part about it is how repetitive self-talk is and how loud it is. When you say certain statements that are statements of permanence, such as, I'm afraid to put myself out there, that's pretty much it. You've made putting yourself out there into a solid object that you need to be afraid of, and that shouldn't be the case. Take that statement and change it into, I'm working on being better at putting myself out there. Now it's no longer something you're afraid of, it's a process and you're an active participant in it. So that's how you take control of your fear. And next up also with uncertainty. You shouldn't live your life in uncertainty. We live in a digital age and we are humans connected all around the world. Seek out guidance. Get somebody that is living the life you want or is an expert in the field that you want to become better, knowledgeable in, or whatever. But get out of your ego and out of yourself and get some guidance so you're no longer drifting around in uncertainty. And lastly, the self-doubt. Once you commit to making yourself a priority and working on yourself, this process will uncover just who you are inside, and then you'll no longer have doubt because You'll be removed from fear once you change your self-talk. And when you work with others, you have support, you have guidance, you have the ability to understand who you are and make improvements on that. And that will remove your self-doubt. So that's how you get out from the FUD. You don't just stay in the FUD and make it your home. There's nothing good there for you. You take control of your fear, your uncertainty, and your doubt, and you manage them so they are no longer the major factors that run your life. I trust that you learned some good things with this video. Click on some of my other ones on my channel for more helpful advice on how to live a simple and sustainable life. Have a great week, everyone.